We're live, Juana.
Nice.
It doesn't feel like it, but we are. Um, yeah, so I don't even know. I blanked out, but it happens. But welcome back to the podcast, Social Primate Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning back in. Today I have Juana Hernandez on the podcast.
Hello.
She's a really good friend from a while back, and and I've had the chance to work with her. And yeah, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself, Juana. I know you do interior design. I don't know if that's what you.
That's what I do primarily.
Yeah.
I went to school for interior design. I've been working for interior design firms since I graduated,
Yeah.
basically. And I've been doing that mostly, but also that's kind of allowed me to venture out and do other things. Some stuff I would do like freelance work that I would kind of learn on the job, just
Yeah.
because one, I needed to branch out, and then two, there was an opportunity to do that. So I learned a lot about, for instance, like I do a lot of bookkeeping stuff, which was not fun, but paid pretty good for a while. And then, there's the graphic design aspect that I learned like from high school, and then I used those skills again in college to put portfolios together and stuff, which is not what I went to school for, but I learned those skills, so I use them.
Right.
And now I'm working on a couple companies. Aside from the interior design job, I'm doing like a candle company and a furniture company. So I'm designing, but I'm also doing the administration portion of it and the business side of it. So I'm learning a lot.
No, I mean that's good. I mean, if anything, that again, you're taking the experiences from whatever you're working on.
Yeah, pretty much.
And collectively using them as you move forward.
Exactly.
No, I mean, I that's why I kind of wanted to bring you here, to touch on a few subjects, because I know, somebody somewhere hearing this, if they are hearing it,
If there's anybody out there.
those are crickets.
Yeah.
But the whole point is, somebody out there is thinking like, fuck, how do I get from where I am to where I want to be, in a sense?
Right.
I'm sure, you on your own, you're still working towards that.
Yes.
But compared to what where you were before, with the knowledge that you had compared to now,
Yeah,
somebody
like
out there
it-
wants to kind of know how you made that happen.
Yeah.
So I mean, there you go, people. I have Juana here. That was basically a summary of what she does, but it's not everything.
Right.
But yeah, thanks, Juana, for coming through. I know I've been trying to get you on here for a year or something.
I was thinking about that on the way over here. I was like, the first time we talked about me coming on, like, hey, would you do it? And I would be like, yeah, sure. And then the first time we really started trying to pinpoint a date was back in like July.
Yeah, July last year, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. No.
So
it's
been
it's
a
been a while.
while.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's really. Let me take my fucking sweater off here. Jesus. It's getting hot. Anyways.
Yeah, it's been a while. So
Yeah,
I
no,
was
and it's kind of hard to, because everybody's busy. They're trying to schedule their stuff, but we made it.
Yeah.
It was especially because now we did it short notice. I think I just told you
I
yesterday.
think you just told me yesterday, and I was like, yeah, I'm free.
Yeah, see, that's when it's supposed to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, again, thank you again, Juana,
Yeah,
for coming
for
out.
sure.
We were just talking about some topics right now. I don't even know how we got to that.
I don't know either.
Yeah, it's just fucking weird. But what I wanted to bring up earlier, just the whole, how do I say it? The whole topic about, I guess, trying to improve yourself. I know a few months back you told me a story that you went to go see Tim Robbins. I think you said in Hawaii.
Tony Robbins.
What did I say?
Tim Robbins.
Oh, fuck.
Who's
Wait,
that
who's
guy?
Tim Robbins? Robin Williams. Why am I confusing them? Point is...
Robin Williams doesn't come for a while. I don't want to go see him.
I
I mean, he's amazing, but Tony
He's
Robbins,
gonna
yeah.
see a grave. Yes. Anyways, your story. You want to see them in Hawaii, right?
No, he was here in LA.
Oh, you saw him here in LA?
Yeah, he came. He does these seminars
Yeah.
throughout the year. He does different types of seminars, but the one I went to is called Unleash the Power Within. And it's like a 3.5 day seminar. And I say 3.5 day, but these days run like really long,
Like the hours wise.
like hours wise. Like the first it starts on a Thursday. I think I got there between everybody registering, and getting settled in. It
Mm-hmm.
was probably around 11 in the morning. By the time that first day, we went through like the first day, the whole setup that he did,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end of the day, we did like a what did he call it? A fire walk,
A
which
firewalk.
basically they light coals on fire, like to grill,
Mm-hmm.
and they do a little pathway, and you walk on them. That
Shit.
literally is what we
Yeah.
did at the end. We didn't leave that until like 2, 3 in the morning
Because everybody had to.
because everybody had to go, and it was like 10,000 people. The event was like ten
Oh
thousand
shit!
people.
Did you have to stick around for all those?
No, so they had like a lot of them set up.
Mm-hmm.
They had like 10 or
Okay.
I don't know how many. It doesn't take long to
Mhm.
walk. The majority of that night was to build up the courage to do it, right? So for so it was like talking us into doing it, or basically talking us out of the fear of
Mhm.
of the fact that we're gonna go walk on hot coals.
On hot coals, yeah.
So by the time you get there, it's literally seconds. Like it's literally like I think I counted like 5 or 6 steps
Mhm.
between me starting, because there's like a little patch of grass that you stand on barefoot, and then you walk across the path, and then there's another patch of grass and someone hosing down your feet,
Ah, okay, so cool.
because the as you're walking, it won't burn you, but some people get like, it's happened where some people get coals stuck to the bottoms of their feet. So if
Yeah.
they're at the
Like
end of
little
it,
embers.
yeah. So if they're at the end of the path and they're still standing on them, obviously it's gonna burn them. So there's people hosing you down. That whole thing in your mind is like an eternity, but in real life is like 7 seconds or something. Like
Yeah.
super, super quick, right? But just the journey of that day, that was
Yeah.
that was the half day of the 3.5 days, from 11 in the morning to like 2, 3 in the morning.
Fuck.
And then you go home. Some people were smart enough to get a hotel local, even like LA locals, just nearby. So I had to go home and then come back, I think around 9 the next day or something. And that includes finding parking and walking back to the place.
Where was it? At the
It was at the that venue that's by USC,
USC.
where they have all the basketball games and stuff.
Oh, I think I know
I
where.
don't remember what it's
Yeah,
called.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but it's in that general area where the museums, USC
Yeah,
is.
yeah. That building is literally right off the freeway,
Ah,
so you
okay.
can see it from there.
Well, yeah.
but-
Well, I mean, quick question.
Mhm.
So, I mean, just to clarify for people who don't know who Tony Robbins is.
Yeah. So I learned about Tony Robbins because I went through this like what do they call it? Like a wormhole on Netflix where you start watching one thing and end
Yeah.
up watching like a million other things. And at that time there was a documentary sort of
Oh yeah, around
following.
his.
Yeah, it's called I'm Not Your Guru.
Mhm.
And so I watched, and it's basically follows a certain amount of people through the journey of the seminar, right? So it basically shows you like a woman. I think it was a guy that was super depressed, and like you can see physically like he's he's just about
Yeah.
to give up, and just in seconds, like not seconds but like minutes, just after talking to him, just his approach to dealing with this person that's depressed, like you can see a visible change in the guy's demeanor. And so that the whole seminar was kind of like that, like he basically makes you he makes you basically have a different approach to your problems, because everybody's there for a different reason, right? So for example, like he explains that a lot of people are sad or depressed, and what they do is they have a distinct like body language, like their shoulders are slumped down,
they're
like
slumped down. Yeah, there's the
breathing
body
really
language.
yeah, there's the body language factor, like you're breathing really shallow and stuff like that. So if someone's depressed and they have these like traits of how they're physically acting, the fastest way to get out of that is to do something physically, do something different, right? So we would be sitting down listening to him, and then he would tell us like, oh, get up and just like yell something, or punch the air, or something physical that you would, standing there, you feel silly doing the first day. By the fourth day, you're like, it's like, it seems like a full-on rave. Like you just immerse yourself in that, and you basically like it's a different experience every day, but it really forces you, if you really want to get something out of the experience, it really forces you to get out of your comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
So which is why the very first day that you're there, you don't expect that you're going to end the day walking on hot coals. And so once you get through that mental hump, like the rest of the weekend, as silly or as uncomfortable as you may think it is, it's like downhill from there. Like it can't get worse than walking on hot coals, basically,
Yeah,
which
right.
is pretty smart how he structures that.
No, I mean it makes sense because that's the one thing. First of all, you don't do intentionally.
Yeah.
Every day.
Like the feeling in the room, again, there was 10,000 people there. When he said, oh, we're going to go walk on fire, basically, you're going to do fire walk. Like the energy in there shifted so bad.
Yeah.
Everybody was so
like,
nervous,
"Oh,
like,
fuck."
what? And he spent like 2 hours showing us, quote unquote, showing us how we're going to walk on these hot coals. And basically, he
Yeah.
would just walk across the stage. Because that's how you walk.
Oh, that's
you
how.
walk.
So
yeah.
he didn't do the
literally-
coal walk.
No,
but
he
was just
didn't
showing
do
you
it
how easy
there.
it
But he would literally just show us like, oh, I'm going to show you how to walk. And then he would just walk normal because you walk normal on coals like you would on pavement or grass or whatever.
was. Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting. But there was there was a really, I think from that experience, at some point he makes us get in groups and stuff. There was this guy I ended up getting paired off with that was very depressed. And he talked to me about at some point during one of the breaks that he had gotten a hotel room just in the next building.
You met this person.
Yeah, this guy there. And he was so depressed at some point he decided to just take off. And one of the breaks he wasn't going to come back because he was talking himself out of it. And, you know, everything that Tony had talked about basically made him really reconsider his life. And he ended up coming back. And then I met him again. This was on the second day. By the third day or fourth day that we were there, he was completely different. Like he was so happy and excited and stuff. It was really cool to see it because I can't physically see my change. I can kind of tell just in my thought process. But just visibly seeing somebody go from being so depressed to somebody like literally jumping up and down, screaming and dancing, and it was really fun, you know, like that alone was like, wow, like this is really powerful. Your mind is very powerful. No. You know, so.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, I think the hardest part for any person is to try to get out of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
You know, you build that routine and you're comfortable with your flow. That when something gets thrown at you, you either panic or you know,
or you hide,
or you hide, you know. And I think the solution is to try to find a way to adapt to it. You know, like just go with that different flow.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I mean, it's easy to talk about it. Like, you know, I can easily say it now, but you know, tomorrow I'm having my own turmoil inside my head. I'm just like, fuck, you know.
And I'm like that a lot. Like, for the most part, people that know me don't know the depressive side of me. They see the happy, optimistic side. They see the person that has their shit together. Yeah. And I'm just like everyone else. I have these like it feels like really drastic moments where I'm really good, and then like a switch, I'm really bad. Right. Yeah. Like it just turns for me, and it feels like I'm stuck, and I don't know how to get out of it. Which is why I try so hard to better myself constantly. Right. And this seminar was actually a gift from my boss. Two of my bosses. I have 2 jobs. And they happen to be friends. Yeah. So together they gave that to me as a gift, because they clearly saw something in me that I needed to get out of my own way, and they would benefit from it, you know, business wise, to have me be at my best, right? Right. So it was a gift, which I completely appreciate that experience. It was like life changing for me, and mostly because of that, because there's times where I am good and then I'm not good, and having that knowledge of like, oh, if you're not feeling good, literally get up and jump or say something or do something physically, even if your mind is not wanting to do it, your mind will catch up to your body. Yeah. You can't physically be upset if you're jumping up and down dancing. Like, try it. Like, you can't be upset. You can't, you know?
Yeah, that's just going to shoot up some other type of chemicals into your brain.
Exactly.
Change it.
So it's a way of getting out of your own head when you don't know. Because a lot of the times we overthink it, right? We have to have some sort of plan to get out of this, like, place of being stuck, where that's a good starting point for me. That was a very, very useful tool. And so I tell everybody that, you know,
Yeah.
is in any sort of like rut, like they're stuck in a rut, like that's a good starting place. Just go out and do something, you know?
Well, just to get a little clip, have people get a little taste of who this guy is. I saw this documentary too. It was really good. At the end of it, you know, I mean, it's nothing compared to the
Yeah.
convention you went to, but
Yeah.
you know, you can see.
No, it's a really good, even just watching it makes you like feel a little bit better.
Yeah, see, this is oh fuck, that's a ad.
That's a commercial.
Wait, how do you? Oh, you gotta wait for it. Oh no, wait 1 second. So we got Tony Robbins. Oh, but this guy's the guy who filmed him. See, does he have anything that he talks about? Let's go back really quick here.
That one. That third one?
This one?
That's the guy I was telling you that's all depressed.
Oh yeah, from the beginning,
Yeah.
right? This guy here. Let's catch a little clip
And
before
he looks so
it catches
sad.
you. Like, hey, take your shit off.
You've been so hard on yourself. I love that you have such high standards. But those aren't high standards. That's called perfection. And most people overestimate what they can do in a year, and they underestimate what they can do in 2 or 3 decades. And you haven't been around long enough to have those extra 2 or 3 decades. So don't fuck it up. There's time.
Damn, I'm already tearing up right now.
Right. Like all this pressure you put on yourself, like you don't have to, you know, like you need to be easy on yourself. And that was a really good reminder to be there.
Damn, yeah, I mean, because you get stuck on thinking of what, you know, you're not where you want to be in any type of way, and
Yeah.
emotionally, physically, you know, and they're gonna come around. Like,
Yeah.
they're always coming back around. It's your ego is just built to, you know, hide somewhere in the darkness and just
Yeah.
kind of be like, hey, what's up, man?
And it's so hard to have it to be where you want to be in all these different areas. Like you could be really good and successful and whatever in like work, and then like
Yeah.
you're saying your family life or your, you know,
There's
romantic
something-
life or something, you know, financially
Mhm.
something's off balance, and that always throws you off. So
Yeah, no, but I mean, again, I suggest and recommend people watch this, and if they have the chance, if I have the chance to go see him, I'll definitely go.
yeah,
do it,
for
you know?
sure.
You know, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, that guy's bullshit. You know, just like other people. You know, other people.
I think because people, when they see stuff like that, they, for one, are very skeptical because obviously this is a way of making money off you, which I totally get. And I'm not gonna try to ignore the fact that the entire time I was there, they were trying to sell either product like tea or pills or like different seminar packages. They were trying to sell that to you the entire time. But that doesn't take away from the fact that these are useful tools. And the fact that he named this documentary I'm Not Your Guru is basically him owning the fact that he's not going to give you the solutions. You know, he's going to put you, basically being in this seminar where you're basically in a bubble, he's giving you all the tools so you can find your own solution.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
he's giving you the tools for you to figure that out on your own, and he's giving you a different perspective for you to allow yourself to get out of your own head and find that, you know, solution. So I don't think people really, when they start thinking of people like Tony Robbins being so full of shit, I think they think of, you know, he's thinking of, he's gonna give you the answer, and this answer is gonna fix everyone's problem.
Yeah, right. And
You know, but they don't realize that it's yourself that's doing the work. And he tells you the entire seminar, like, I'm not doing anything. You guys are here doing the work. You know,
Yeah,
you guys
because
are
I mean,
here.
in a sense, you could say that what he says is basically common sense, but common sense is easily
Overlooked.
goes. Yeah, exactly. It's overlooked, and you don't really pay attention till it's said to you again.
Yeah. It doesn't sound
know?
like common sense until someone says it.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh yeah,
Like,
you know?
duh.
Yeah, exactly. There's a show on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen it, called BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I've watched the whole all the seasons so far.
I watched it at the end of last year. I watched the entire thing.
You watched? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, kind of like the show, you know, it has its cartoon, stuff going on.
Yeah.
But every episode here and there has like a
There's
like a
so
little,
much deeper stuff
yeah,
in there.
exactly. There's like a little gift for you, like
Yeah.
here, you know. There's a scene where I think he's trying to run because he's overweight, and he gets tired like a few steps, and he kind of like passes out, and some older like baboon looking guy, like a monkey, he's like, it gets easier. with each step. And I was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, it does.
Yeah,
you
it
know?
does. Yeah.
You know, it's common sense, you know, but it's like when you hear it in a specific way that you're like,
Give
like,
yourself just a
oh
little
shit.
bit of time.
Well,
Yeah.
Tony Robbins, you know? Yeah, I mean, I'm the one. I was skeptical when I first saw the documentary. I was like, man, like he's just gets trying to make money.
Yeah.
But I
I
heard
mean,
it.
it
You know,
makes sense that he would make money. Why wouldn't he monetize
Yeah.
his, you know, his talent? Because that's
Yeah.
it takes a special kind of talent to bring out this side of people, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So why
that
wouldn't he
vulnerability.
monetize that? But at the same time, I think when we were there, he talks about how he grew up basically poor as shit.
Yeah.
And he talks about a specific Thanksgiving, I think it was, that they had no money for food or anything,
Mm.
and some stranger basically came over to his house and brought them his entire family food, right? And so where he was very grateful for this stranger who brought them food, and this is like the power of perspective again,
Yeah.
where he was really grateful for someone that was feeding him at a time that they really needed it. His dad was so offended that somebody would bring them food,
Yeah.
because it's like, you know, you're taking pity on me. I don't want your pity. And so that's I take away, that's the power of perspective. You could see it one way or you could see the other depending on whatever given situation you're in. But also that's kind of the basis of why he wants to help people out. And during the entire seminar, he was accepting donations from the
Mhm.
people that were going, the people that attended, and whatever the total was, he was going to match it and basically donate that to the homeless shelters here in LA.
Damn.
So he does that all the time,
Mhm.
and that's one thing that he's very like consistent in doing. And that's one thing that he also talked about. People are always trying to better themselves, and it's very like me when they don't realize that you also gain as a person by giving to others.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So-
a different type of.
and
you,
it's a
you earn
different,
something different.
it's a
yeah.
different type of reward for
Mhm.
sure. You know, it's to see someone's like genuine gratitude for something that you did
Mhm.
helps you also it also helps you feel better about yourself. And
Yeah.
I've experienced this because at a time where I just didn't want to do anything for myself, I started volunteering with this like nonprofit that would feed the homeless.
Mhm.
And so I would go, and it was my sister-in-law's idea. So she wanted to go and she had no one to go with her. So I was like, I'll go with you. And so just being there, helping like they literally would get donations for like dogs, because a lot of homeless people have their dog companions or cat companions. So they would get food and clothes and stuff, but also you get to really see what they actually need, like toiletries and all that. They're really grateful for that stuff, more than clothes, more than food.
Yeah.
But even so, just to see like genuine gratitude for someone as you're giving them something does something for you. Like it just really like turns something in you, you know, like
Yeah.
it makes you really appreciate things, but it also gives you again a different perspective on life and whatever situation you're going through. It's not that bad. Like you hear this all the time. Whatever you're going through, someone has it worse and someone has it better. You know, it's not a competition, but you know, it just has to do with your perspective
your
of
perspective, yeah.
of your situation for sure.
Yeah, I mean, once you change that, you start seeing things a lot differently.
Yeah.
Like a lot. Like honestly, I remember when I was like at least maybe fresh out of high school. You know, I think back now. I'm 20. I'm gonna be 29 next month.
Damn.
It's like, you know, it's just 10. It's just 10 years. You know, but I
Seems
can
like
think.
an eternity, man.
Fuck, it feels like it went by fast though.
I know.
And I'm just like, oh fuck. You know, we're doing stuff.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, but the whole point was, I remember just my train of thought changing, like from being so naive and a little ignorant. You know, I still have my biases now, but you know, I can see how I would react differently to certain situations.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just life experiences just
Yeah.
change that. You know, you start seeing differently, and now like at least I have a son. You know, I'm trying to like, hey, don't fuck up. You know, but it's because like my parents before, they will try to throw their experience at me, but I don't take it into consideration. You know, it's
Yeah.
because you're not living that,
Yeah.
and you just kind of want to be like,
Right.
hey. And now I know I'm like, oh fuck, I should have.
You know what? That's a good point that you make. And I've been asked this question a lot. Um, more so from like people that I work with, because for one, I'm Mexican.
Mhm.
I grew up not having basically close to no resources,
Yeah.
and for me to decide to go into something that was so out of the ordinary, interior design,
Yeah.
it's not a common profession. It's more common amongst people that grew up in an environment where they had nice homes and they
Mhm.
got to basically play dress up for their houses and stuff. And for me to have nothing like remotely resembling anything that way, for me to pick that career was so weird.
Mhm.
And I never thought about that until my boss pointed it out to me, and he's like, I look at you and I wonder what you did different. And I think part of that for me, going back to the way we grew up, I grew up with a single mother of 4 kids, and I was the only girl, so I was not allowed to stay home or be
Mhm.
on my own a lot. So I would go with my mom to work or running errands or stuff like that I hated doing.
Yeah.
But because of that, I got to see how much she struggled and how much she worked to provide for us. So it made it so much more hard to take that for granted.
Mhm.
And then also I was very fortunate that she never put any sort of pressure on me to do something or be something or not do something. Like, she basically, her only requirement was to finish school, like to make something of myself. And that's something I heard constantly as a kid.
Mhm.
Like, you're going to go to college. Before I really understood the concept of college, I knew I was going. So I think that's a really good point that you bring up, as you've already gone through your, you compare your upbringing to how you're gonna raise your son.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really interesting point. And I had an epiphany the other day. I was like, that must be it. Like, it was so hard for me to take that hard work for granted, that I just had to do something.
Yeah.
And then I also didn't want to have to work that hard.
Yeah, I mean, that's what
like, it's hard.
you gotta work
like,
smart.
Immigrants, like, they
Yeah.
don't get enough credit, man.
No, for sure. I mean, and again, like, because we come from that,
Yeah.
I'll consider myself first generation,
Yeah.
I don't know, Hispanic, Mexican American, first
I
generation.
don't know what the right term is, but
It's,
whatever. Yeah.
I'm the first one for my parents,
Right.
here, so I'm like, I guess, first
Same.
generation, I
Yeah.
guess. So I know that for sure it's easier for me because I understand their hustle and
Yeah.
all that stuff, and they're still doing it now,
Yeah.
Um, obviously with less work, but
Yeah.
they got to where they were to over here
Yeah.
with some struggle.
Exactly.
And then I came up with I didn't come up with it, but I was talking to Angel about this the
Mhm.
other day. What was it? Yesterday? The day before? But I was thinking about, dude, I totally fucking forgot right now. Oh, fuck, too much weed, why not? Too much weed. Man, it was a good point too. Fuck. I know part of it was in regards to just like our train of thought, like we fuck, hold on, I'm trying to recollect myself here.
Mhm.
What were you saying again? You were saying about we were talking about our parents.
Yeah, like growing up, seeing their struggle and their hustle, and how that shaped us.
Is he your first generation?
Yeah, your
First generation, dude. I fucking blanked out. I feel like that fish from fucking Dory or Finding Nemo. One of those. It comes out of
It's
that
one
movie.
of those. Yeah, it was Dory.
Oh yeah, it was Dory. Oh fuck.
See, you
Look,
are high. You
I
don't
am
even
Dory.
get,
I'm not even high
You
right
don't
now.
even get your characters.
Fuck.
Damn.
Shit.
You didn't get them
Okay,
right.
well, the whole point was just the first generation. It's just there's something out to prove to my parents in a sense.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because
To justify their hard work, right?
Yeah,
There's that pressure.
and
for
as
sure.
I didn't have any resources coming up either. Like I didn't finish school, but I learned so much outside of the school.
Yeah.
And I was really leaning towards self-taught stuff.
Mhm.
And I had my projects, and I had the people telling me no, like you're not good enough, like questioning me, like why is this brown kid here, And it felt weird, I got offended, I got angry, I
Yeah.
felt fucking like I doubted myself so much,
Yeah.
and but I just kept at it,
Yeah.
and I think maybe I haven't met up the standards to, let's see, my parents necessarily want, but it's like, like I understand their struggle, and I know where I want to be in the sense, even
Mhm.
if it's gonna take another 10 years or so, whatever.
Yeah.
You're still trying to improve yourself little by little and understanding those situations that you're bringing, you're surrounded in,
Yeah.
and fucking like, pushing through.
Yeah.
Because, man, I was like, they'll look at me and be like, why is this guy here? Like, dude, just
You
give
know
me a
what?
chance, man.
I would get that look. I would get that look or that feeling more so than that look of why are you here? I was never questioned as far as like why is this brown girl here, so to speak, because I was always with my boss. I was their assistant, so I was an extension of their. So, you know, people being rude to me or offending me was basically offending my bosses, and that had some sort of, you know, repercussion, right? So that was protected in that way.
Yeah.
But I never realized how brown I am until the first project I ever had. My boss sent me to my client's house in Hancock Park, which is a really nice neighborhood. And the client opened the door and he just stopped dead in his tracks. And I'm dressed really nice, like professionally, you know, and I have all my design stuff with me. And he was very kind and nice. He wasn't rude or anything, but it was that look of like, wow, I must be really brown, you know, like I never was aware of, you know, my skin color because I grew up in a place where everybody looked the same. So I never experienced that.
Yeah,
but I
because you're
definitely
used
did
to
get
walking
those
around
looks.
and you're
And then
comfortable.
on the flip side of that, I would get the same looks from all the people that would help them, like the cleaning lady or the gardener.
Oh yeah, I mean,
but
yeah.
it was like a different kind of look, like, oh, you're one of us, but you're better than us, you know, like you're in a better position. And there was always this like genuine joy to see me do better.
Yeah.
So that was always like a nice pat on the back, you know, like they would do whatever they could to help me out.
Yeah.
So it was always really nice. You know, it was two very different experiences. And I still get that a lot, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, of course, you know.
Especially like being on construction sites and stuff. Like there's a relief when I start speaking Spanish to people. They don't have to try to find the right words to say what they want to say in English.
Yeah.
It's always a relief, and it's really nice to provide that relief. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's just the first second, like they're taken aback for that, like, oh,
Yeah.
and then, you know, a lot of people obviously accept it, you know, around here.
Yeah.
And if you go to fucking Kansas or something, I don't know. But I mean, yeah, for sure. I feel comfortable, you know, when I'm around people that look like me.
Yeah.
But I also feel like, you know, you got to get out of that comfort. I mean, that's not, you know, people. Unfortunately, you know, people want to say that there isn't, but there's also a little bit of racism within.
Oh, for sure.
You know, the Hispanic raza community. You know, and you know, you gotta fix it little bit by little. But yeah, a lot of them they'll be like, man, I don't want to work over there with the white guys.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, I mean, just
It's not
you gotta
that bad.
you gotta culture, you know, you gotta get involved with different cultures. You
Yeah.
know? Even if sometimes you don't understand them, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I like learning about them. You know, I like just kind of tasting different things. Like
Yeah.
I went to Arizona, a few days ago?
Arizona. How was that?
Well, I went to the Grand Canyon.
Uh-huh.
That was fucking amazing.
I've never been.
No.
I've been wanting to go.
Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to go last year. That was my goal that I didn't get to.
But you should
But
go. Were you
I
gonna drive
really
out there?
I was.
Yeah.
Or somebody. I was gonna go with someone that was gonna drive.
Yeah.
Most likely Michelle. But we didn't go. But I still want to see it. I
No.
mean, it's beautiful.
I mean, it's a long drive for sure. It's a long drive. But once you get there, you know, I got to see the sunset and the sunrise and the sunset.
Oh,
It was like
nice.
20 degrees over there.
Yeah.
Like you're walking. I lost like feeling on the side of my fucking right hand. It was on like I couldn't feel my pinky. So but yeah, it was
That's
it was
crazy.
beautiful.
Did you hike it? Like, did you go in and because I want
No,
to do
we
that?
couldn't go hiking.
No.
Yeah, we didn't have enough time to get there, spend the time to watch the whole time, and then hike. Because I think if you want to get all the way down to the river, that's an all-day hike.
Really?
So you'll have to either have maybe like a
I wanna
4-day
do
thing.
that. I
Unless you
wanna do
fly
that.
there, then you have more time.
Yeah.
But you know, you're driving 8 hours.
How long were you there? Like, when did you leave? Like on a Friday or Saturday?
I left Friday at like around 8 p.m. and I got there Saturday morning like around 5. 5 in the morning. Slept for like 30 minutes. Woke up, drove to watch the sunrise. Because I think where we stayed to the park was like 20-minute drive. Watch the sunrise. Got some fucking bomb ass hotel in some place called like El Tobar Hotel, which I'll come back to with my story from earlier. Fucking big ass windows with this, you know, scenery of the hotel. I mean the hotel, the Grand Canyon.
That's dope.
It was badass. And then, but basically, you know, the whole day, the whole weekend we were there. slept a total of maybe like 2 hours the first night. Oh fuck, it was horrible. But it was worth it, you know.
Yeah.
You don't give your body the chance to not stay awake to
Yeah.
kind of kick in its survival mode. So it
Yeah.
felt weird, but
I'm
for
sure,
sure
it was worth it though.
it felt so good sleeping afterwards, like super deep sleep. I mean, and the canyon on its own was just overwhelming. Like it doesn't look real. Like, you know, unless you're seeing something around it, surrounding it, you see the depth to it.
Yeah.
The Grand Canyon kind of looks just like
A
big,
postcard.
yeah, like a big postcard fucking painting. But you see the fucking canyon and the river, and that's when you see like, oh shit, this is real. But yeah, beautiful. You should check it out.
I want to check it out for sure.
The whole reason I brought that up was because you know, you're in Arizona, so at least, you know, the cities that we went through to get to the Grand Canyon, there's a lot of like Caucasians, right? But the ones
There's
that
a
are
lot of racism there. Is what I've heard.
yeah, well,
Very apparent racism. Like they do not.
a lot
hide
of
it.
not all of them, but there was a few where you come, you know, get off at this fucking bus stop gas station to get some food or take a break, take a piss, and you kind of just see like people just kind of staring at you like, and I'm like, oh fuck, I know you're staring at me, man.
Yeah.
And or they just kind of like do their own thing. But at the Bar hotel, that's where we had breakfast. You know, the majority of it's like, not a fancy spot, but I mean it's kind of pricey, I guess. But a lot of the people there were like, you know, older white people, and then, you know, we walk in, you could tell I'm Mexican. The only other Mexicans are just fucking serving the table and stuff.
That's funny.
And I'm just sitting down.
You know what's funny? As you said that, your
Yeah.
arm's not even tan. Like you don't even have
Yeah,
a
you know,
full on effect.
yeah, I don't even have a
Summer hasn't
full-
even kicked in.
Exactly. Yeah, I get a fucking trucker tan, man. I'm like this. You see two different colors. But yeah, you'll see them come in, and I look all scruffy, like my hair's long. I just look like I just haven't slept for 10 hours. So I look cracked out, I bet. And they're just staring at me like, you see the couples just kind of staring at each other, being all formal. I'm just grabbing my food. We ordered some drinks in the morning, some Bloody Marys at 8 a.m.
Of course you did.
I had to, man. After an 8-hour drive, I was like, fuck that. I need a drink. And then they're like looking at us like, what the fuck? These guys are already drinking right now? But yeah, you know, it's not.
You're giving us a bad name.
Yeah, it's probably true. But you know what? Fuck it. It was a road trip.
Yeah, no.
Everybody
for
lives
sure.
around there. But yeah, they were just, you know, there's no way racist at all,
Yeah.
but there was just that taken aback, like, oh shit, like, where is that
Yeah.
guy here?
Yeah.
You know, but it was cool. It was
It
fun.
was for sure like
I
a
just look at him and be
prejudice.
like, yeah, what's
yeah.
up? Yeah. But I mean, it was fun. You know, it was a really fun trip. For sure, that was in the back of my head. Because a lot of the places that are around there, you know, a lot of the working class people, they're Hispanics.
Yeah.
Everybody else there is just kind of like spending money,
Yeah.
you know. But, and there's a lot of Native Americans there too, which I feel they're the ones who are probably like, well, the majority of them were the ones working behind the counter type of stuff.
Really?
And I was like, fuck. But I mean,
That must be
Gotta get
weird
better.
to them to like have most of the Mexicans coming through that are not working because they're tourists, you know, they're
Yeah.
just passing through.
it's like, what the? We're like, no, homie, peace. But I mean, it was a cool trip. You should check it out. But,
I want to.
yeah,
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, going back to the whole thing, yeah, it's crazy. I think you have a lot of, we as a first generation have a lot of stuff writing, you know, in regards to how we present ourselves to
Yeah.
how our parents' culture was, basically,
Yeah.
you know?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Because I feel like I'm a little disconnected from whatever culture my parents had in Mexico.
You know what?
It
I
makes me a little
feel
sad.
it makes me, you know, I've been thinking about that. That's so funny that you brought that up. I feel like when I was younger, like in the 90s, everybody wanted to be like more American, I feel, you know, like all my brothers have American nicknames.
Yeah.
My family calls me Jenny because at some point somebody decided that was the American nickname for Juana. It has nothing to do with it.
It is, yeah. Why
It
not?
is. See, I didn't know that.
Oh,
I
shit.
the only reason I know that's because I met one other Juana that goes by Jenny. And I've asked around my entire family who gave me that nickname. Nobody can pinpoint the person that started that. It's so weird. But as I've gotten older, I feel like I want to connect more with my Mexican heritage.
Yeah, yes, same here.
I don't feel Mexican enough to be like to really wear that proud. Like
Yeah.
I don't know enough of the culture. I don't know enough of the history of Mexico. But at the same time, like I want to be more in touch with that. And it's funny that you said that because this weekend I was like my Spanish, as I worked in the interior design field, I end up being the one. Oh, you speak Spanish. Oh, translate this to the workers, and you don't understand how many words I've never had to say in Spanish because I've always said them in English, right?
Yeah.
So to be there and try to translate, I'm like, yeah, my Spanish needs work, right? So this weekend I actually was like, I need to do something about that. So I went and bought a book, like a big ass Bible-sized book,
In Spanish?
in Spanish, like a nonfiction book, like a story, just to read out loud to myself, so my Spanish can get better, because I want to be more fluent. And like I feel like I actually haven't gone to Mexico for 10 years. I'm gonna go this year again.
Fuck, no, that's
10 years.
cool.
So I'm like, this is the year I'm gonna like reconnect with Mexico.
It's funny because once you're over there, they're like, man, she's from the U.S.
I know, like, es americana.
Yeah, you can straight out tell.
For sure.
Yeah, like what's it called? There's this guy that I knew from New York. I mean, you can just tell, you're still from the United States, but you're talking English. But he'll say hot dog like hot dog.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? It was just odd to me at first. I was like, what do you say it again? He's like, what? Say what? Hot dog. Hot dog. And I was like, what? It's just funny how you say it, man.
It's funny that you say that because I had a cousin that is from Mexico, and at some point he came here and he was talking to my other cousins and my brother and I, and he said something in like broken Spanish, and we're like, what did he say? And then we're like, oh, we figured out what he was saying, and then we said it at like some point in the conversation. We said it back to him. That I don't remember what the word was, but we said it back to him like in proper English, and he was like, "What is that?" And then we said it in broken Spanish, and he's like, "Oh," like it becomes a whole different word.
It all connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like we can all benefit from trying to reconnect to that
For
culture.
sure.
Because again, I think about it and like, there's not really anything that we do as a family or just in my greater family outside of Mexico that celebrate the culture,
Yeah.
And I feel like I've like lost track and been astray from that path for a long time now.
I came to that realization when the movie Coco came out, because the whole theme is about Dia de los Muertos, and not one single like year in my entire life have we celebrated Dia de los Muertos in America.
Yeah, I went to in Hollywood last year, there was a thing called Dia de los Muertos Festival in Hollywood Cemetery.
But that's more of like a outing social thing. It's not a custom to you, right? Like you don't celebrate that.
I don't celebrate that.
Yeah,
no.
and I was like, why don't we celebrate that? That seems so cool. Like in the movie, I was like, that seems amazing,
Yeah, like how they explain the tradition and
like the whole tradition part to me is beautiful.
Yeah, no,
and
it definitely
I felt
is.
like robbed because we don't celebrate it.
Yeah, no, we're just like celebrating.
And so
like
now
that.
I want to go. Like this year, that's one of my goals. Like I want to travel this year in Mexico. Traveling to Mexico is like relatively cheap to anything else. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a couple trips out there. So one of them is that. Like I want to go to Mexico City for Dia de los Muertos and see what that's about. Like experience that.
Yeah, for sure. That's like one of my goals too, to just try to reconnect so I can learn more about it. Because I'm ignorant, man. The only thing I know is American history. That's not my...
That was not my forte either.
Yeah,
Art history I can get away with, but it was like full American history.
Yeah.
I get everything mixed up.
World history was awesome, but nah, American, I'm just like, oh, fuck. another guy. But, I'm just, we were talking about that, kind of rung a bell earlier. I saw this video. How there was that New Zealand shooting a few days ago. Horrible, douchebag, asshole. But people, the only thing they can do after that is kind of try to come back together and, come back stronger. So the whole culture thing that we were talking about brought this up because I think just yesterday, I said a day ago, some of the students around there, they started doing these things called like a haka dance. I think it's like a Maori dance from New Zealand. It's like all these old school tribe dances that were either used to prepare for war, for rituals, ceremonies. And like I saw this video came up. I don't know. So, oh shit, what did I do here? So this whole brought, once I started talking about the culture, this kind of came up because they're all doing this dance to kind of commemorate, what's the word? Commemorate? No.
I had it before you commemorate.
The people who passed away, who were killed. So the whole point is this dance to try to look as intimidating as possible.
Right. You know what's funny? I saw this video like last year. I think it was like it came up on my feed on Instagram, and it was similar to that, but it was like a Hawaiian wedding or
Yeah.
something like that. And there's a lot of like tribal components to like a wedding ceremony there, and they had like dances like this, and you know, like again, it ties back to their customs, and
Yeah.
you know, it brings, to me, it kind of reminded me of like a church wedding. Like that's supposed to be a ritual that really binds you together.
Mhm.
And so this wedding with the dancing and all that, it was very, very similar to this. Seemed like really cool. Like
Yeah.
I can totally see that being something that, you know, binds people together.
Yeah, I mean,
more so than, oh, I want the perfect wedding and the perfect dress.
Yeah,
and
and
that
it's
just
just
seems
full of-
so, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I went actually to a wedding like 3 weeks ago. It was a Korean wedding.
Ooh, how's that?
It was cool. I mean, have you seen Crazy Rich Asians?
I actually haven't seen it.
Well, basically put it at that level, but maybe tone it down like 3 notches.
Okay.
But it's still fancy, you
Yeah.
know. It was a fancy party, but what I was happy to see was that part of their ceremony was like in old school Korean. So they had like all
that's cool.
the headdress,
Yeah.
you know, the whole like gear, painted faces.
See, when I was younger, I would have thought that was so cheesy, and like I would have
Yeah.
been like, "Oh, this is gross." But now, as I get older, I really could appreciate more tradition, and not so much my tradition. Like I can see the beauty in other traditions, you know,
Yeah.
from other cultures and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And there's something about like if my son was there, he would have been like, "Dad, I'm bored.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out of here." It's like, no. And I try to explain to him like, nah, dude, like just like look. But he doesn't, you know. There's a
Yeah.
different perspective.
Yeah.
We understand different things. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll get there at some point. For now that I'm there now,
Yeah.
you know, I'm like, oh fuck, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, and I had some other acquaintance that I went to their wedding probably a few months ago, and they also had like this Aztec ceremony, like this ritual.
Oh, dope.
It was pretty cool, you know. But again, I think that comes with with your age, as you
Yeah.
try to reconnect with where you
You
come
really
from.
embraced it.
Yeah, like I'm in the process of getting a DNA test at 21 and me,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
chromosome thing.
You know what's funny? I was looking into that, and then somewhere, like I read like a meme or something online that was like, oh, that's just the government's way of like getting like
your
all
fucking
your
sample?
DNA and
Yeah.
stuff. And I was like, oh my god, that's so true.
They give you some fake graph.
Yeah.
African American. Yeah. I mean, it's. I guess I can see how
I
that's
could totally
true.
see it, but I'm like, now I don't know if I want to do it. Like,
Fuck, you're right. But I mean, hey, I guess if because I know Mr. Fontes, he did it. They
oh, what
said-
did he have?
I forgot all the results except one. I said he was like, I think like 8% Neanderthal.
I
And I
totally
was
see
like,
it.
oh, yeah. Yeah, like, so I was like, oh, yeah, I can totally see it too. You know, because, I mean, your body type kind of shows,
Yeah.
kind of helps you learn. But point being is, yeah, I was going to do it, but now you got me thinking, why not?
No, you should
Fuck.
totally do it.
He's like, nah, don't do it.
It was a court case where they subpoenaed the DNA test and they charged
yeah?
crime
Yeah.
to that guy
Oh, shit, for reals?
because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, see, it's like a way of filing your DNA.
So it's
And
just
it's really
like-
interesting though, because
for-
see, my boss did it.
Oh,
My
she
boss did it, and then she has an adoptive daughter. She adopted her daughter from China.
Mhm.
So her daughter did it too, and obviously she's 100% Chinese or something like that. But it's really interesting to see all the breakdowns and stuff, because it gives you your breakdown of
Yeah.
your ancestry, and it goes back generations, so you can
Yeah.
tell you can pinpoint exactly how far back your lines cross with, you know, whatever.
Mhm.
So it's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I want to get it. Like,
Yeah,
like I
because
want to see what,
my
like, the
understanding of
gravitated
that
from.
was like it would give you percentages, like you're this percentage of this, you're this percentage of that. But when it gave you the breakdown of like literally dating back 100 years, 200 years, that's where the crossing happened here, and like that was pretty interesting. You know, like
Damn.
that, it's like really intricate.
Yeah,
But
so
don't commit any crimes, because then you're screwed.
Yeah, no, I mean, the first thing that came out here was like, can police get your DNA? 23andMe. Let's take a quick look here. We have what? 10 minutes? All right, let's see here. It doesn't happen very often. DNA you send in the mail through genetic kits and ancestry programs can be used by police.
It didn't.
In a
It didn't
criminal
define often
investigation.
either.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Just like your phone could be subpoenaed, so can your DNA.
Oh, so then you're fucked. You know.
Fuck.
DNA
I mean, but they already
and
have your
phone.
fingerprints.
If they put it,
Yeah.
if you put it out there for public, well, not public, but even for commercial use, then yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
have access to it.
Yeah, see, Ancestry told AP it hasn't received such requests for genetic information in the last 3 years. So, I mean, they probably have. Has never given any information. Oh, you see, 23andMe says, has never given customer information to law enforcement officials.
Customer information does not include DNA.
I mean, I mean, you're
Like,
kind of right. In those business terms. I mean,
Like,
that's
they're
kind of
not
true.
going to give them your credit card.
Or your address.
Or your address.
social. But they'll give them the
but
fucking
they'll
spit.
give.
Ah, fuck. Oh, look, wait. It says, and it doesn't allow third-party access to the genetic data for comparison. Wait, for comparison, what does that mean? So they can still give them to you if you don't have it. If you, fuck.
There's so many loopholes in
Yeah,
the way you word things.
yeah,
I always
exactly.
find it so fascinating to try to find,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
true.
how
That's
they're
why
going to screw you.
That's why lawyers exist. Yeah, fuck, man. Well, we'll see. Point is, if I get the DNA test, that'll be on the next episode for sure. If I decide not to, I'm gonna go deep into why you shouldn't do it. So either way, next episode you're hearing about DNA.
There's this one for African Americans specifically that will give you like your African heritage. Go with that one. Try that one instead of 23andMe. I don't think they're gonna give it to the government.
I mean, true. Yeah, you know what? They probably still already have tabs on that.
It probably.
FBI,
Probably.
CIA.
There's one. There's some for Indians. There's like specific ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
shit. Hispanics? 23 y yo. Oh, man. Well, yeah, I mean, basically, you know, I guess people should try to, for sure, get out of their comfort zones.
Yeah.
Accept yourself for who you are and grow from it.
Yeah, for sure.
And get in touch with your roots, man. I
Yeah,
think
get in
that's
touch with
important.
your roots.
I think it's really important. I think that's a lot of problem with a lot of people. They just don't,
Yeah.
you know, because once you find yourself,
I think that's part of finding yourself.
Yeah.
When we're, you know, since we're talking about bettering yourself and growing and whatever, I think that's part of it. Like really getting to know where you come from, you know?
yeah, you know what? That's true. I think it is a big part of it.
It
Now that you
is.
mentioned that, it was like the common sense thing. Like, you know what?
Yeah, like
You do wanna know.
it like helps to understand why you do certain things. Like if you start dating things back from like past generations or
Yeah.
even like, you know, if we're talking about family trees, like the family on a separate branch, like what they're doing, you're going to find some similarities.
Yeah. I think the reason I came up was because some customer I was working with, they said, oh yeah, I did the DNA test and I hope it doesn't fuck me over, because apparently a friend of them did the test and they found out that their parents weren't the dad wasn't the real dad.
Shit.
So, you know, they found out through a DNA
Yeah.
test, and that's like crazy, you know, like
That's
you
a
don't expect
crazy
those
way
fucking
to
results.
find
Like,
out.
hey, you're not my dad. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
That's crazy.
I had that happen to me like 3 years ago, but it's a whole different story, man. And I was like, what? Who
Wait,
am I?
what?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter right now. I'm
Wait,
kidding,
no,
guys.
now you can't.
How much time
you
do we
can't-
have?
We
got
have
6
enough
minutes.
time. We have enough time to like,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's not a big deal, but so I mean, apparently, man, this is a whole new top secret message to the people. No, but I mean, pretty much just to sum it up, I had some girl reach out to me. She was like, "Hey, you know, she's trying to get to know me from Mexico," and I was like, "Oh, hey, what's up?"
Like randomly?
Yeah, like
on
randomly.
WhatsApp or something?
No, it was on Facebook.
Oh.
It was on Facebook. She goes, "Oh, hey, like you look familiar." I was like, "Oh yeah, how so?" "Oh yeah, I think I've seen pictures." And then like a few months later, she sends me a photo and she goes, "You're my brother." And I was like, "What?" She sends me a picture of me as a fucking baby. I'm like, well, okay, this is getting fucking creepy. And she goes, "Yeah, like, you know, like my dad and your mom met and all this stuff." And I was like, oh fuck. And point is, that just led on to me finding out that this other guy exists trying to talk to me now. Like, hey, what's up, man? And I mean, I haven't really talked to him because you know, you're disconnected. You don't fucking know. Like, to you, it's just a random ass dude.
Yeah.
You know, and you already have this conception of who is who in your fucking life.
Yeah.
And then somebody's just coming in here like, "Hey, man, I'm your dad." It's like, what the fuck? Yeah, I mean, at the time it was crazy. You know, I don't feel weird talking about it now because who fucking doesn't have gone through this? You know.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, so I'm sure somebody out there is like, "Hey, that happened to me."
It's true though. Like for me, my mom, I grew up with my mom. I have 3 brothers that we were raised together with my mom. My dad was always in the picture, but he never lived with us. He would come and visit, right? But he had a whole separate family. And there's times where I forget that family exists. And I wasn't very close to my dad growing up. But again, this is the reason, and this happened like literally right after I left the seminar. I was like, okay, I really need to like let some of this shit go, you know?
Yeah.
So I literally, my dad lives like 5-10 minutes from there. So I stopped by to have a conversation. Totally freaked him out because that's not something I do at all.
Mhm.
And so we just kind of reconnected that night, and it started our, you know, our father-daughter relationship.
Yeah.
But it, like, to circle back, like, there's a lot about me that I never identified with my mom or my brothers that I get from my dad.
Yeah.
And it's so obvious now. Like, there's certain characteristics of how I do things, or my personality or whatever. And like now, like randomly he'll be like, oh, your sister does that, or your sister's like this too. And it's like, oh yeah, like I share
have
traits with other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, I know,
You
that's
know?
what gets weird. Like, what? And it's hard. I mean, unless you have that, you know, I don't think you can ever. I mean, I'm sure you can accept a person as your brother, you know,
Yeah.
half step brother, whatever they're called. But it for sure takes a process, you know.
Yeah.
At least, you know, to me, they're still my parents. He's still my dad. They're still my brothers. Still my sisters. You know, like there's no distinction between anything that happened. To me, it's just who they are. You know.
Yeah. So
And-
your father, who you were raised with, is not your biological father. Is that what happened?
Yes. Yeah. As far as I'm aware, but 23 and me will make
We'll
sure.
find out. So I guess
You'll find,
I guess
21
you
and me, whatever it's called. Yeah.
23.
23.
Why
Yeah, I think
23?
21 is
23
if
chromosomes,
you
maybe?
have Down
Forever
syndrome.
toy one.
But yeah, man. I mean, it was crazy. It was I remember just thinking. I kept it to myself for a long time. And like you say, you kind of carry these things with you, and subconsciously they're just weighing down on you.
They are,
like,
yeah.
You know, and unless you finally decide to kind of like open up and speak about him,
Yeah.
you're gonna feel you feel that weight lifted.
Yeah,
You know.
for sure.
You remember I when I brought it up to my mom, probably like 3 years ago.
So how do you confront your mom? Like, hey, somebody hit me up on Facebook.
I mean, at this point in my life, I was just fucking like, I was not in a good place. So I felt like, you know what, like, I'm already in a bad place. I feel comfortable enough to put myself in the worst place. You know,
Like, fuck it. I'm just
yeah, like
gonna
fuck it, like
yeah.
balls out, go balls out. And so at that moment, I told her like, hey, like, you know, is this true? You know, and she just said like, yeah, it is. You know, and like. Just seeing her as a parent, you know, I'm her offspring. Just seeing her as a parent, getting to that moment of like having to tell your child like some fucking deep ass truth. It's hard, you know.
It's hard.
And I just remember her like kind of like breaking down and like crying, saying like, "I'm sorry, I never told you." And I just, you know, she goes, "I didn't want you to think any different of me." And I was like, "Nah, like, dude, you're my mom, you know." I mean, sure, you can probably do some fucking fucked up shit to somebody, like whatever, you know, sell drugs to someone or start doing drugs, but like just the fact that seeing her in that position just made her feel so much more human.
Yeah.
You know, like just know that she carried that for fucking years.
Forever, yeah.
You know, and then I'm here finding out, just confronting her about it, like, hey, did this really happen? Like, I imagine that wait for her was as refreshing as it was for me, you know?
Yeah.
Because, you know, I just, you know, she said it and I told her, Mom, like, nah, don't ever think that I will think differently of you, you know, all that stuff. And we kind of just, like, talked about it. And then I felt like there was a new connection between both of us, you know?
I totally see that.
And I was like,
did you,
know?
like, going into that conversation, did you, like, were you pissed off? Were you heated? And then, like, seeing that reaction of your mom, like, it totally...
I mean, I don't think I was ever really angry. I think I remember just one time thinking like I felt like identity crisis, like who the fuck am I, you know? Like I've been known as Eduardo Aguirre and like now I'm fucking know that this other guy has some other as last name. It's like, who are you as a person, you know? But yeah, I mean at that time I wasn't angry. I was probably just already really bummed out, and I felt like fuck it, he's gotta be more bummed out. But then that kind of helped start like a building process, you know, like you start analyzing things, putting things together, and like you become stronger, you know, mentally, and you know how to challenge different things.
Your understanding of how the world works and how your parents didn't have like some sort of guidebook to be your parents. Like you understand that so much more.
Yeah, I mean, as a father too, I understand more now that every single one of us, we like to occasionally think we have it together, but we're still fucking learning all the time, man. Like, there's no guidebook.
For sure.
We will just pretend as much as we can like, that we're doing good.
That's one thing that I found out with talking to my dad was like all these years I resented him for not being around, and then come to show that he did that to not make me grow up in a toxic relationship where he's constantly fighting with my mom. He just took himself out of the equation altogether.
And sometimes that's what
and
you
I
gotta
totally
do.
appreciate that. You know, as an adult, I appreciate it. As a kid, I didn't.
Yeah. Well, Juana, it's that
It was
time.
fun.
Thank you for coming out. You know, I hope
Thank
people
you for
are not
having
crying
me.
right now.
I know.
They're like, oh, fuck this podcast. Now, again, thanks again, Juana, for coming out.
Thanks for having me.
Dre, thank you again for the good stuff in the back. And
That sounds weird.
man, it's a truth.
Take the compliment, man. Just take the compliment.
Yeah, but Juana, thank you again. I hope next time, you know, we have you around again, and we're not strangers.
Yeah.
You know, thank you everybody, and check us out next episode for some DNA
For
test
some
results.
DNA results, yeah.
And you are not the father. Video Maury Povich.
Fuck. Shit. Thank you guys. Peace. To now.
Where can you get a hold of you guys at?
Oh yeah, I mean, Juana, do you even want people to get a hold of you?
I
know probably the people who know us are like,
they already know. They already follow you. I guess I don't even know what my Instagram is. That's the best way to follow me.
fuck. Well, yeah, I mean, podcast, Social Primate, Instagram. Always check us out every other Tuesday on Super Audio Network on YouTube. And then a few days later, you can check the audio out on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher.
Right.
Whatever's easier for you guys. And what are your handles?
I.am.Juana. I am Juana.
There you go, people. She is Juana.
I am Juana.
No identity crisis there.
No identity crisis there.
Peace.
Bye.